Hey, welcome to Dream Leap Live TV. I am Adama Hamadi, career clarity coach and lifestyle design specialist for mission-driven aspiring entrepreneurs. I normally have a very structured live with an outline and learning objectives and all that good stuff. But the last week, I've really been buckling down and preparing for the launch of my Purpose-Driven Powerhouse training series, which is launching tomorrow. Kicks off tomorrow, honey. So if you want details about that, you can click the link in my bio. But as I've been preparing for Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, I have been doing a lot of reflection and introspection. I've been thinking a lot, even more than normal. If you know me, you know I'm a recovering overthinker, so I spend a lot of time in my head, and I've done a lot of work to get to a place where I'm not just thinking, but I'm executing, or where I'm not just worrying or catastrophizing. I'm allowing things to pan out the way they're supposed to. So today my live is not as structured as it normally is, but I'm open to that. I trust myself to be a clear channel. I trust that everything that needs to be said, everything you need to hear is going to come through, and that if you stay open for the process, that you are going to get something that's going to transform your life. So I ask you to bear with me. So most of my work, a lot of my work focuses on helping Black women unlearn and reshape the thoughts that have held them back from having what they want. I do a lot of work around helping people to overcome self-sabotage so they can get out of their head and get into aligned, inspired action and go after their dreams. And as I've been preparing for the next chapter and phase in my life and in my career, I've been doing a lot of thinking about things that I've had to unlearn in my transformation. Things that I had gotten comfortable thinking that I realized were not serving me. Things that I assumed were the truth, that didn't feel good, and that were holding me back and keeping me stuck. And I realized, I guess I've known this already. I've created the level of clarity and freedom that I have right now, one decision at a time. I've taken back my control. Yes, baby, unlearning is definitely rough. I've taken back control of my life and taken back my power, one boundary at a time, one decision at a time. And a lot of these decisions I didn't realize that I needed to make. In the same way that a lot of things I had been thinking, I didn't realize were running in the back of my mind. And there's just so much. Hey, Vicky. There is just so much that I think about, that I know you probably think about, that just plays in the back of your mind unchecked all day, every day. Narratives that are created, assumptions that are made, and just run life. And there's just been so much that I've been thinking about, and I want to riff about that today. So if while I'm sharing something, you want to ask a question, feel free. But there's just stuff that's been in my head. As I said, today's not as structured of a live because I've been buckling down preparing for the launch of the course tomorrow. But a thought that's coming to the surface for me, a thought that feels very top of mind, especially these last couple days, is that I get to be, do, have, and enjoy experiences that my ancestors couldn't even have imagined. People that came before me, including my very recent ancestors. I'm talking about my mother, my dad. The people that came before me in my lineage, in my family line, could not have imagined that they would have access to the kinds of things that I demand and that I expect every day. And I just think about how powerful it is that I've created a universe in which I'm allowed to expect not just to feel good, but to have joy be my standard and my norm. To have peace of mind be not some airy-fairy dream, but like what I get to have on a daily basis. To have control of my time. To be able to do the things that feed my soul. To keep my distance from people that drain my spirit. To get to be the person that I want to be. And support other people in being the people that they want to be. These are things that the people before me could not even have imagined. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take it for granted. Oh, thank you, Vicky. It just, I was just the other day, a couple days ago. Yes, baby, joy is my standard and my norm. Like, joy gets to be my default. And I made very careful use of the word joy and not happiness. I don't believe that I owe it to anyone to be happy all the time. And quite frankly, I'm not really trusting anyone that has a permagrin all day, every day. I am a human being and I get to ride the roller coaster of human experiences, which means that some days I'm going to be very, very high. Some days I'm going to feel very low. You know, I'm not always going to be smiling. I'm not always going to feel amazing. But I know that I always have access to amazingness. I know that at my core, I am magic. I know that at my core, I am power. I know that at my core, I am love. And so I feel like I give myself permission to feel all types of things because I'm not trapped in like needing to perform a certain emotion for anyone. Yes, joy and permanent happiness are not the same. Come on, Tamara. So yeah, just the other day I was talking to my girlfriend about, she's also a child of immigrants. If you don't know, both of my parents are Sierra Leonean immigrants. They came to DC from Sierra Leone, and I was talking to my girlfriend about how different our view of work is than our parents' view of work. And how that doesn't make us or them bad. It's just they're very different paradigms. So both of us happen to be self-employed. Both of us happen to be technically location independent. And both of us have found ways to monetize our gifts. We have very different skill sets. Oh, why is joy and happiness not the same? Okay. So happiness is... I understand happiness to be... I understand happiness to be an experience of immense, intense pleasure. But happiness can be very fleeting. Happiness can be something that you feel when things are good, as opposed to joy being something that you know you always have access to, because joy is your state of mind. Joy is the choice that you've made for your life. I think that joy is choosing ease, and happiness is what you feel when things happen to be easy in that moment. And I think that more, if I really want to break that down, what I really meant to say was people that are smiling all the time are not necessarily happy. And smiling does not mean that you're happy. Enjoying something that feels good in the moment does not mean that life is good for you. But joy is something much bigger, much more profound, that requires much more intentionality. That is where I was going with that. Hey, Lauren. Jen, let me know if that made sense to you. And if not, I'll flesh it out a little bit more. But I know in my core that feeling happy right now is very different than being joyful overall. I remember days when I would be smiling or laughing because I was having fun in that moment, but I was in a super dark place overall. I did not feel like myself. I did not feel safe. I did not feel free. And I think that joy comes from knowing even if I don't feel happy right now, I have access to something bigger and better eventually. All right, so back to what I was talking about with my girlfriend. We were talking about how we're both self-employed. We were talking about how as children of immigrants, we were raised to survive. We were raised on fear. We were raised on getting by. We were raised on you should be happy for what you have because shit could be so much worse, right? Oh, thank you. I'm so glad it's clear. We were raised to survive, to get by. Hey, Ms. Nia. We were raised to survive, to get by. We were raised on like some bare minimum shit. Like, you should be happy for the best of the bad, right? And these days, both my girlfriend and I have made very intentional decisions to demand and take a stand for our most delicious lives. To really stand up for not just safety, not just surviving, but thriving. Making bliss the standard, making bliss what we're aiming for. And I think that the reason that it's been so difficult for our parents to make sense of what we do in our businesses is because it never occurred to them that they could branch off and start something new. And I will say, like, we have access to more information, technology, resources, income streams than probably ever before. This is a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time to be a free spirit. It's a beautiful time to be independent and out here. This is a beautiful time to be taking risks as far as trying to monetize your passion and, make money for what you do well, right? But I understand that when my parents came here, they were literally trying to make sure that they were fed. They endured all types of hardship and stress to make sure that I and my siblings made it. Because making it was what they could hope for. They didn't know to hope for anything bigger than that. And I also understand that to some, love looks like worry. So they worry for you in order to show that they care about you. And when you don't hold on to or harbor that same sense of worry, they assume that you don't care about yourself. When you walk into life refusing to buy into or feed into their worry and their fear, when you don't take on their projections, they assume that you don't care about your life. They assume that you have a disregard. They assume that you're not concerned for your safety. And really what it comes down to is, because of a series of things that I've been exposed to, because of a series of experiences that I have had, I've gotten to decide that I deserve more than being safe. And unfortunately, with what's going on in the world these days, I don't always feel 100% safe. But I do feel like I'm able to be free. And that's something that I own and jump onto unapologetically, right? So when I made the decision to leave my job, if you don't know this about me, I had been coaching in a number of different ways for a couple years before I took this full time, right? But when I finally decided to launch this business 100%, when I decided to make the break out of my 9-to-5 and into full-time entrepreneurship, I had a 2-month-old. My child was 2 months, not even. And my mother really worried for me. She was terrified, and she was thinking, "Oh, Adama, why would you do this? Why would you quit your good job? Why would you put yourself out there?" She was worried, and she thought that that was how she needed to show love. And I understand that that was what she was working off of. I understand that that was what she had modeled for her. And so I could receive it without making it mean something about my decision. I was able to hear her fear and reframe that. Like, yes, I understand that the safe thing might look like staying at this job. But I also know what it costs me to stay in a place where my soul doesn't feel fed. I know what it costs me to resent walking in somewhere knowing that I could be doing something else with my time and energy. I know how it feels to not be giving my all when, like, I don't do half-assed. If I do something, I'm all the way in. And when I get to a point where I no longer care to be all the way in, it's probably in the best interest of everyone for me to just back away. I knew that about myself. My mother may not have known that about me. She may not have known that that was an option, and she may have thought that I was coming from a very privileged, entitled place. But what I came to understand is that my mom and dad did the grunt work and endured all types of hardship, all types of stress, all types of shenanigans so that my life would be better. And I feel like it would have been disrespectful of me to not make something of their sacrifice. So rather than continuing the pattern of settling and, taking what I could get and hoping for the best, I decided, thank you so much for what you went through so I wouldn't have to go through it. But now that you've gone through it, and now that I see what else is possible, wouldn't it be best for me to go after what's possible? And if for whatever reason, if my dream did not pan out, I could always go back to what I knew, because if nothing else, I know how to work, right? I could always go back to doing that. It would not be ideal. After tasting this freedom, I have no interest in it, but I could do it, right? And I feel like I say all the time, like, I owe it to my ancestors to take advantage of the resources that they didn't have. I feel like I owe it to women that didn't have a voice to use mine. I owe it to women that were told to sit down and shut up, to stand the fuck up and do what needs to be done, right? There are a lot of people who do not know just how many options they have available to them. And it would feel like a slap in the face to me to be surrounded by options and use none of them. It would feel wasteful and negligent and rude. Quite frankly, I can't think of another word. It would just feel rude and dismissive of me to not tap into all the resources that my mother could have only prayed for. My mother could not have imagined that she would be able to walk away from her 9-to-5 and get paid to talk to people on a screen. That is not something that, my mother doesn't even know how to send text messages, y'all. My mother does not use technology. You think I'm bad at technology? My mother is 100 times worse, right? She has no conception of bringing in money by talking to people on a screen. That doesn't even make sense to her. Here's the thing, though. It doesn't have to make sense to her. I don't have to convince her that this is a thing. I get to live my life. I get to let the funds come in, let the gifts and blessings pour over me, and then I get to pour those blessings onto her. She doesn't have to understand how this works to appreciate that I made it work. And I think a lot of us waste our time and energy trying to convince other people of our dream. We waste a lot of time and energy and precious mental real estate trying to make our big vision make sense to people who don't even have access to that. My mother could not have imagined that this was possible, but it's possible. And now I'm showing her that. I feel like I want to be a powerful example of what can be created when you dare to stand up for what you believe in, when you dare to practice ruthless prioritization, when you dare to set self-honoring boundaries, even if you grew up not knowing you were allowed to say no. I've seen all types of examples and signs that I'm supposed to settle. I've seen all types of visuals for, you should just take what you can get. It could be worse. You should be grateful. And I feel like it's important for us to practice unlearning the things that we got used to thinking. Just because you've practiced thinking something does not mean that it's the truth. Just because you've seen something every day does not mean that that's the only thing that you have access to. I went out of my way to explore different possibilities because I knew I was not built for what my mother was doing. I knew I was not built for that, right? It took me learning the hard way. These days, I want to be available for learning things gently. I want to be available for learning things with ease and with grace and with flow. It took me learning the hard way that I was not built to be a workhorse forever. I was not built to do everything for everyone else and hope that all my hard work would eventually pay off. I was not built for that. I had to wake up in the hospital to have that realization. And it is my hope that by watching me, that this will shorten your learning curve. It is my hope that you will figure this shit out without having to put your life on the line. I'm hoping that you will make these changes and make these decisions without your life having to be in danger. Whatever wiring or conditioning my mother had helped her get to a certain point, and then it kept her stuck. And when I was modeling or doing what I had seen modeled up under my mother, that worked for me until it didn't. And while some people would be terrified that they ended up having the health crises that I did, I am so grateful not only that I had that like Mack truck moment. I say feather brick Mack truck. First life will whisper to you, then it'll get a little bit louder, and finally it'll send you a sign so loud and so egregious you cannot ignore it, right? I got hit by that Mack truck of burnout and stress and woke up in the hospital like, hey girl, what are we about to do? Because this shit can't be it. Like, this cannot be it, right? And I feel so grateful that because I like to find the lessons in my experiences, that I was able to learn from that and grow from that. I feel grateful that I was able to reframe and change things around. And rather than making my burnout mean that I was a weakling and that I just needed to figure out a smarter way to keep working hard, that I was able to make a decision. I was done trying to prove myself to other people. I was done burning myself into the ground and hoping that would make me good enough. I was done tolerating and settling and hoping for the best, because I knew that I deserved good things. I knew that I was worthy of a life that didn't hurt. I knew that I was worthy of a life that I didn't need to escape from every few months just to feel like a person, right? But this all required unlearning. It required a willingness to see things differently. It required a willingness to let go of things that I had practiced thinking and explore things that felt better to think. And this is why my work is something that's so near and dear to me. I'm not just out here talking shit and offering y'all Adama-isms and cute little quotes, right? This is not about, me dropping a soundbite and then going about my business. I really want to help women change the way they see themselves, change the way they see the world, and change the way they go about things, so that they're not having to learn things the hard way, so that they get to feel like they're living their fullest, freest, most fully lived lives, so that they're not waking up at 90 wondering where the hell shit went, or so they're not burning themselves out into serious health issues, right? Trying to earn your self-care is going to earn you a trip to the hospital. When we stop trying to be superwoman and start being super intentional with your life, you would be amazed at what opens up for you. And no matter what you've gotten used to seeing, you get to choose something different. And if you didn't know you could choose something different, today is the day that you get to. The rules that bind other people do not have to apply to you. The rules that hold other people back do not have to apply to you. And a lot of the things that are keeping you stuck now are based on rules that you get to change. You created those rules, or you may have followed those rules blindly because someone you admire and respect created those rules. But you get to create different rules today. You get to follow your big vision. You get to honor your intuition over your insecurities. You get to take a stand for the woman you want to be and not just settle into the woman you're used to being. You get to grow into who you want to become. Yeah, that is what has been on my mind. It's just really important to me to share when I talk so passionately, so fervently about time freedom. This is not just about time management. It's about inner critic management. It's about energy management. It's about managing other people's expectations of you. It's about deciding that your well-being is more important than how other people perceive you. It's about deciding that you get to be, do, and have things that other people could not even have imagined. Like I said, I am living a life that my most recent ancestors could not have imagined. But I feel like that is the best way to show love and respect for everything they sacrificed. For the women in my family that never imagined they could make their own money without relying on a husband. You know what I'm saying? My husband is my rock and he makes great money. Or at least money that, holds me down when like this feast and famine cycle of entrepreneurship is like up and down, right? But I don't have to rely on him because I'm getting to focus on what I want for my life and bringing in money at the same time. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I don't have to rely on him in the way that women before me may have had to. I get to create new paradigms. I get to create a universe that's working in my favor instead of a universe that I have to fight for and scramble through, right? I see you laughing. I see you. Yeah, so I say all that to say, if you have been feeling stuck at a plateau, uncertain of what the next chapter of your life is going to look like, it's because you are still hanging on to rules and assumptions about how life has to be. And today you get to change your mind. Today you get to change your mind. And if you're not sure where to start, I have broken down all of my favorite concepts and principles for designing your life with intention. I've collected all that shit together, packaged it into a training series that I call the Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, so you can get out of your head and into aligned, inspired action. So you can get out of your head and into your most delicious dream life, into the life that you did not even know was possible a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that your family never would have imagined was possible, right? Purpose-Driven Powerhouse is a training series that launches tomorrow. Oh, thank you, boo. Purpose-Driven Powerhouse is a training series that launches tomorrow. I'm actually opening the portal tonight at midnight. It is launching tomorrow. You will get one training every 3 days for 30 days. Now, if you were to buy any of these or all of these trainings separately, it would come up to over $1,900. But if you take advantage today, technically up until midnight tomorrow, you will be able to zero in on the early bird price of $444 for all 10 of these trainings, plus worksheets, plus exercises, plus a couple bonuses, because, I love you. If you decide that you want some extra support and you want a little nudge or kick for momentum, you can tack on a 90-minute intensive with me in addition to the training bundle, and your total will be $777. Now, training only or the bundle with 90-minute intensive, I do offer a payment plan for. So you can have a 2-pay, a 3-pay, or a 4-pay option. And I can share links for any of those if you are into them. If you decide that you want my highest level of insight, accountability, and support as you integrate these concepts and principles into your life, as you learn everything that I have learned in the last 9 to 10 years to take back control of my time, to design a life that I did not even know I could access. If you want to learn all of that shit broken down and have my highest level of insight, you will also be able to tack on 6 monthly Back on Track coaching sessions with me, in addition to the training bundle for $1,111. And that is a single pay only. Purpose-Driven Powerhouse is, it has so much packed in together. Because I want you to be able to have lifetime access to these videos. I want you to have lifetime access to these concepts and principles and to get in this energy. I want you to watch it and listen to it as many times as you need to start integrating it into your life. This is not just a program that you're going to take. It is a transformational experience. And if you want to tack on that extra one-on-one support, then you already know what it is. And I will say, come on, come on, content. Yes, I will say this course has taken so much out of me. I've been eating lots of humble pie, figuring out the tech behind this. So I ask that you bear with me. But I'm high touch, not high tech. I'm not here to be someone's electronics guru. That's not my ministry. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you the message. I'm here to hold space. I'm here to help you see yourself differently. I'm here to change the way you move in the world. I'm here to be a powerful example of what's possible. I'm here to help you change your mind and change your rules so that you can live a truly delicious, fulfilled life. And if you have been thinking about what your purpose is and what you want for yourself, but you don't know where to start, Purpose-Driven Powerhouse is a wonderful next step. It's a way to recommit and re-engage with what matters to you and then design your life accordingly. That is about all that I have in my head right now. I would love to take a few questions before I log off. So feel free to hit me with whatever's coming. The message is what matters. Come on, Vicky. Girl, it's been a minute. Vicky is one of my VIPs. Hey, girl, hey. If you have any questions about Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, any questions about whatever, hit me up. I'm curious how you feel the lessons you've learned have affected your ability to be an amazing mama. So, thank you. I received that and I appreciate it. Let me tell you how I have not been feeling like an amazing mama in the last week. That child has been tap dancing on these nerves, but it's fine. I received that still. I think that the lessons I've learned have helped me change my mind about what being a good mother or a good woman looks like. I work with lots of moms who I think haven't learned this yet, so I'm wondering how you think moms can specifically benefit from this. Absolutely. I think that a lot of women internalize ideas about what it means to be a good woman. I ask, it's a 3 M's question. What have you learned about motherhood, martyrdom, or money that affects the way you show up in your life? And then the 3 W's questions. What have you learned about womanhood, willpower, or worthiness that affects the way you show up? So these are questions that I ask often and think about often with my clients and in these lessons, because a lot of women are afraid to be seen as bad mothers. A lot of women are more committed to looking good in the eyes of others than to being present for their children. And it became very clear to me when I was on maternity leave and when I was deciding, like, am I able to go back to this job? When I finally made the decision to leave, it's because I wanted to model to Nasir that it was more important for me to be present for him and engaged for him than to like do the stable thing that other people do. I did not want Nasir to ever believe that he had to stay stuck or settle for golden handcuffs if he was genuinely unhappy. And I knew that the best way, children don't care what we say because they're watching how we live, right? I knew that I was going to be a walking, talking behavior template for my child. And I wanted to make sure that he saw me walking my talk. I wanted to make sure that he saw me going after my dreams and doing what mattered to me and setting self-honoring boundaries and standing up for myself even when my voice was shaking and I was afraid. I wanted to make sure that he would be able to know what I was willing to stand up for because I owed him a happy mom. Not a perfect one. They say all the time, like, your kids don't need a perfect mom, they need a happy one. Your kids don't need a perfect mom, they need a healthy one. And I knew it would not be healthy of me to pretend I wanted to be somewhere that I no longer had the bandwidth to be at. And so even though it didn't make sense to other people that I was leaving my job, even though it didn't make sense to other people that I was going to take this business full time with a newborn, it made so much sense to me. And it also helped me to really zero in on exactly what my non-negotiables were so that I could be the fierce time master that I am now. Everything I have learned, not everything, that's not true. A lot of the things that I have learned and perfected as far as time management and time mastery came from knowing that when you have a child that is 100% dependent on you, you're going to get real fucking clear on what matters and what doesn't. And then you're going to defend those things fiercely. I got very, very clear on what mattered. I got very, very clear on what was fluff and what was extra. And I was willing to drop the ball on what other people were putting in the mommy blogs. I also don't read mommy blogs because fuck that. You're not about to pressure me. You don't have to be in my shoes. You don't have to be in my home. You don't know what it's like, right? But I made a decision to decide what worked for me and to design my life accordingly. And that is going to be one of the legacies I want to pass on to my child and to anyone that comes in contact with me, that you have permission to design your life around what matters to you. And that you are not an afterthought. Even with children, you are not an afterthought. And you are allowed to practice giving yourself the space and the systems and the support you need to be present for what matters to you and to show up as your most powerful self. Right? Anyway. I don't really remember what your question was, girl, but did I answer it? If not, let me know if you have a follow-up. But I think I really was able to buckle down and get even more serious about time management with my child, because I knew it was non-negotiable that I would make space for him. But also, life costs money. And so if I'm an entrepreneur, if I'm an entrepreneur and I need to be making money and making time for my family, I'm going to find a way to make them both work. If you have a mama that's really stuck, a lot of the mom guilt that people take on, like guilt is a weird use of our energy. A lot of our mom guilt is because we're still trying to impress other people. And again, the key to becoming burnout proof is give yourself permission to design a life that impresses you, and then give other people permission not to get it. That's something that I go into in depth in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse. So if you really want to understand what I'm talking about with that, that is definitely in there. Thank you, Tam. Drop the kids off in the trash can. Shut up, Katisha. I am not dropping him off in the trash can. I know a lot of mothers get off on being needed and on being the only person that can be around their child. And that has never been my issue. Like, if you want to love my child and you can love him fully and safely and in a healthy way, then please share the love and help me and give me some space. I love when a friend wants to come over and just like hang out. Like, please take his ass, because I can't, right? I'm a better mom to him when I get my space. So I'm totally okay with delegating and outsourcing. And I'm totally okay with hiring my niece to watch him while I work, even if I'm still in the apartment. Because my work still matters. It doesn't matter that I'm working at home. My work is still important and still needs to get done. Anyway, I told you, I didn't have a whole outline for this, okay? So I'm just riffing. I'm just talking shit. But I am open to questions. I'm also going to take a sip of water. And I know nobody asked, but I'm going to go ahead and share. These earrings are my new faves from Blue Moon Aquarius. Get into it. Ah! Thank you, Katisha. Thank you. I received that. Whew. I received that. I feel like a lot of the time, especially during this isolation period, I have been looking like hot garbage, okay? But every once in a while, I decide to wear real clothes. Every once in a while, I decide to put on some kind of makeup. I do this because I care. I want to look like something on video, but I don't know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. How have I made you stronger? Thank you so much. How have I made you? I would love to hear your testimonial or your thoughts on that. Thank you. And thank you, Vicky. Ooh. What questions do we have? Any questions about Purpose-Driven Powerhouse? Any questions about how to work with me in general? Keeping it open. I forgot to say. I forgot to say, please feel free to share this with somebody that you know needs to hear it. I didn't have all the bullet points and the learning objectives and shit, but this still needed to come through me. So please share it with someone that would appreciate it. 2 weeks ago, a truck hit me and totaled my car. Normally I would be living with Jones. Woo! I am so sorry to hear that a truck hit you. My God. Let the lawyers handle it. Listen, you got to let other people do what they're good at so you can focus on what you're good at. Yep, like you have to know your limits. Just because you can jump into a battle doesn't mean that you should. Let them have it. You take care of you. You get your spirit together. You collect yourself. You heal. You recover. You rest. You do whatever you need to do and let them do what they're going to do. You said before you would have tried to kill him? It's telling me my video is reconnecting. It's telling me my video is reconnecting. Oh, shit. I told you I'm not good at tech. Okay, listen. If you can hear me, please type something in the comments. Type I can hear you. Something. Yes. Come on, something. I can hear you. Beautiful. So sometimes Instagram won't let me be great. Every once in a while, I'll be like riffing on something, and then all of a sudden my screen will just get real dark, and I'm like, this is awkward. I don't know if the people heard what I just said. But anyway, all right. Y'all are real shocked with these questions. I mean, listen, I can't force you to ask if you are not feeling prepared. I would love to know though, what's coming up for you when I was sharing about, when I was just talking trash, just out there talking. What were some things that came up for you? What stood out? What resonated? I just want to know. I just want to know. What would you like clarification on? All that. Have we reached that point, family? Are we just at that point where we need to close out? Because I have the courage to end this if we have heard enough. I tell myself I'm going to hold the space until 7 o'clock, but we do not have to. We have permission to ride the roller coaster of the human experience. Yes! See, it just did that reconnecting thing again. But absolutely. I don't owe anyone a constantly sunny disposition. I don't owe anyone a permagrin or 100%. Everything's great. Everything's fine. If shit's not fine, right? My job is to feel my human feelings. Thank you, Tamra. Love you, girl. Thank you, thank you. Do some, yes. To some, love looks like worry. Absolutely. Especially to parents that are in survival mode. They think that to love you means to worry about you. And when you don't worry back, they worry that you don't love yourself. And it might creep them out a little bit. It's not your job to take on other people's insecurities or fears or projections. Yes. Yeah. To a traumatized mind, survival or familiarity looks like safety. And so when you try to do something even a little bit different, The brain is like, hell nah. Nah, this is not what we signed up for. We're not doing it. Abort mission, right? And for parents that have crossed over to a whole different continent to start a whole new life, everything feels scary because everything feels new. And so they're going to hold on tight and do whatever they can to keep you safe so they can feel safe. But if you know that you are meant for more, allow your parents to worry and choose not to take that on. Allow your parents to love you in the way that they love you, and then you love you in the way you need to love you. We deserve more than being safe. We deserve more than survival mode. We deserve more than good enough. You can be grateful and pave the way for more. You can be grateful and make room for abundance. You can appreciate what you have while you're working for even better. And for people that didn't know they were allowed to ask for more, it's going to feel like you're entitled and privileged and doing too much. Give them permission not to get it, because the journey is not for them. It's for you. I am committed to freedom. Exactly. Freedom is my number one value. Freedom is my number one value. If nothing else, I need to feel free to be me. Because the people that I am meant to serve don't want me watered down. They won't hear me watered down. They need me unleashed at my most potent, at my 200 proof version, right? They don't want me filtered and safe and small and hidden. Like, I need to be free to be all of me and make it free for the people around me to be themselves as well. I'm clear on that. Any other thoughts or questions? And if you didn't hear, Purpose-Driven Powerhouse training series is launching at midnight tonight. How do we redefine the strong black woman trope that black women are celebrated for? I saw the best thread the other day about like how we need to stop complimenting black women by saying they're strong, because it feeds into the idea that like that's what we owe to the world. I don't owe the world strong. I don't owe the world strong. I feel like there are times when I am allowed to break down and to crumble and do what it takes to like build myself back up. I have a real aversion to the idea that the black woman has to save everyone, that the black woman needs to be superwoman, the black woman needs to be the rock, right? Because who's going to be her rock? And at the end of the day, as long as you're trying to be everything to everyone, you don't get to do the things that you need to do for you. What is best for you, what preserves you, is going to be really good for the people and projects that you're responsible for. And so if you can give yourself permission to be super intentional instead of trying to be super woman and super strong all the time, then you'll find that you serve the world better. So rather than aiming to be the strong black woman, can you be the burnout proof black woman? That's what I've built for myself. I don't need to be strong all the time. I mean, and people will find, because I've done the work to make burnout proof a non-issue in my life, I do show up as very strong. But I don't show up needing people to think I'm strong. And a lot of women that burn themselves out are burning themselves out because they're trying to prove that they're strong. Burnout happens when you live like you have something to prove. And if you stop trying to prove, stop trying to impress, stop trying to justify the way you're showing up, then you do much better things for the world. How do you commit to self-care and joy as daily practices? That feels so connected to freedom, but sometimes I feel so stretched I don't know how to. I break down how to design your days, your relationships, and your environment around your need for self-care. That is in Purpose-Driven Powerhouse. So my favorite definition of self-care is the practice of giving yourself the space, the systems, and the support that you need to do what you're here to do. So if you're clear on what you're here to do, then you need to practice setting self-honoring boundaries. You need to practice asking for what you need and expecting to get it. You need to practice surrounding yourself with people that you don't have to prove yourself to. You need to practice making what you want more important than what you think you want right now. It is a practice, right? Self-care is not a prize that you earn. It is a practice that you live. It is something that you build your life around. I think you should be on Twitter. Girl, I am zeroing in. A big part of me staying burnout proof is me focusing on the platforms that work. So I don't even get Twitter. I'm not about to take on a whole other thing trying to build that up. But feel free to share me with your people that are on Twitter that are also on Instagram. Yeah, but I break all of this down. In Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, I talk about designing your days and your environment to make your success inevitable. Designing your days around practices that work for you. So if that is something that you want to take on, if that's something that you want to learn for yourself, Purpose-Driven Powerhouse is the right next step for you. You can go to the link in my bio to enroll. If you decide that you don't just want the trainings, you want the trainings and either extra momentum or monthly coaching calls, then you can DM me so we can work that out. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you, thank you. Came in right on time even though I'm late. How you feeling, lady? You are right on time because I'm still here, girl. We are right at that time when I'm getting ready to close out. Got about 8 minutes before I'm going to need to recharge this battery. But if you have any questions about Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, now would be the time to ask. I was just about to hit you up about a session to kick me in the butt. I'll DM you. Go on ahead, DM me, girl. I'm here. I will say, I do not charge by the hour. I charge by the outcome. And I'm not a big fan of doing single sessions because I don't believe that that's where the real transformation lies. So I think I'm really into hybrid model and extended coaching. So if you want to work together long term, we can work together for 90 days, or we can work together doing a 90-minute intensive plus the Purpose-Driven Powerhouse, or we can work together with the Purpose-Driven Powerhouse and 6 monthly coaching sessions. That is up to you. The details are up to you. You can sit back and think about what works for you and then hit me up. But I look forward to receiving your DM, my love. Yes. All right. Thank you very much for being here, for listening to me just like ramble. Thank you in advance for sharing this with someone that you know would value the information. And I hope that you have a delicious evening on purpose. I look forward to hearing from you in my inbox. And if I don't see you in the next few days, I will see you next Tuesday at 6 as per usual. Bye-bye.